What up, guys? This is the kid DZD, aka the Drink Kang, Purple World Entertainment, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios. Once again, thank you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys do that because you don't want to miss the hot content just like this that I'm gonna have coming for you guys. Most of you guys know that I have services on my website now that allow you to send me your beats. One is to play your beats on my live stream. The other is to get your beats personally critiqued. Now, a lot of you guys have been taking advantage of the beat critique service because you get personal feedback on your beats directly from me. Your beat is broken down into sections, literally picked apart by myself, and I'll give you a good idea of where your tracks shine and also where they can use improvement. Now, what I notice is a lot of people have a bit of problem with the tonal quality of their beats. You may be one of those people that don't understand what tonal quality means versus what sound quality means. So in this video, we're gonna compose a boom bap beat, and I'm gonna show you guys the difference between tone textures and sound. That way you guys can get a good understanding of how to pick the right tones for your beats and also how to get the right sound out of those tones that you have. I'm also going to show you a few other techniques to shape your drums and to get them into a better position in your beat. That way they kind of mesh along with everything and the whole beat flows along smoothly. So pay attention to this video. It's jam-packed with information and I guarantee you it's going to help you out in your beat making process. So without saying too much, let's jump inside the MPC software, check out this vinyl sample that I have, and let's see if we can grab some good tones and make some good sounds out of our instruments on top of the sample. Let's do it. Okay, we got a nice little vinyl sample loaded up in the MPC software. So check out what that sounds like. I like how this sample rolls, but I want to tune it. Let's pitch it down maybe -3. Absolutely, that's how we want to roll with it. We're gonna process that and we're gonna get that to fit maybe a 1.7, let's say 179. Let's speed that up a little bit more. That sounds good. Let's chop that up into regions. Okay. All right, then we're gonna hit Shift Convert, and then we're gonna process that into a new sample. Okay, for those of you guys that are having trouble with getting your samples to fit your project tempo, if you notice what I did, I took care of everything with my sample first. I took care of the tune, the time stretch, all that good stuff like that. And then what I'm going to do now is get my project to fit my sample instead of trying to set my project and then fit my sample into my project. Remember, I time stretched the sample at 179 BPM. So I'm going to go on and change the project tempo simply to 179 BPM. Okay, now I know my project is in sync. So let's lay down these chops and see if we can come up with something that fits. Okay, so I have this piano sound that's pulled up in Vengeance Pro. It's the bright piano sound. This is going to be our first sound that we layer over the sample, and we want to get this as tight as we can to make sure that it fits the tonal quality. Now, first thing I did is I picked the instrument that has the tonal quality. Now I'm going to show you what the difference between tonal quality and sound is. Picking instruments that have the tonal quality that you need means that I need to understand the feel of this track, of this sample that's going on. Now this sample is kind of energetic. It's not dragging. Being that the sample is warped a certain way, it kind of fits a bit of an energetic feel, even though it's a soul type of sample. So I chose a piano that has a bright type of feel. Look at it. Whenever you're trying to pick the particular instruments that are giving you that sound of what you're looking for, that's your tonal quality. Once you have the tonal quality of your sound, now you can go on and mesh it and match it with shaping it out and getting the sound that you want. Tone and sound, two different things. If you can pick instruments that have the tone of what you have going on in your beat, then now you can shape that sound very good. So we're going to pick this instrument. It has the tone of what we're doing here Okay, so let's put that in chords. And this is how you know if you pick the correct instruments. Once we shape the sound, you're going to see it fit right in with the beat. So let's go ahead and lay this piano down in some chords. We're going to have this back to sample. So let's do it. There you have it. It fits the tone. You can kind of hear it almost blend in with the samples. So now we're going to pull up our EQ. I'm going to disengage the EQ, let you hear what it sounds like over the sample. And then I'm going to engage the EQ and let you hear what it sounds like after. Now this is with the EQ. You can see exactly what's going on here. You can actually hear it in the tonal textures and how it meshes well with the sample. So now when we shaped our sound and we rounded everything out, it came out beautifully. It fit right underneath our sample, and now it's backing our sample and giving it a rich, full feel. So that's the difference between tones and sounds. You want to pick the correct VST instruments that give you the same tone as the sample that you have going on. And if you can use your ear to find those instruments and find the correct tones of those instruments and put them on your samples, now you can shape your instrument and make it fit beautifully with your sample. And the way you do that is just by ear. You have to be able to have a good ear and pick out the correct tones that go on top of your samples. If you don't understand what I mean, just rewind this part of the video and I can guarantee after you listen to it for a bit and understand what instrument we pick with this tone and then shape the tone out to make our sound, you're going to understand exactly what's going on here. So if you have trouble with this, just rewind the video, check this out, listen to it, and you'll see what we did. Okay, the next instrument that I'm going to layer on top of this is a string type of sound. Now this is going to give it its melodic feel now. I want to give the sample some type of melody. They have melody that's going on in the sample already, but I want to blend my melody in with what the sample is doing. So I'm going to choose the low end of the sample. Being that we cut so much out of the sample, I want this to follow the piano chords, which is that low mid in it, and I also want the string sound to follow the sample as well. We're going to lay down this instrument over the beat, and then we're going to check and see if we have the correct tone. Let's see. All right, let's pull up our EQ and let's shape this tone that we chose. Let's shape it into a sound that we need. And if we pick the correct tone, you're going to see that it fits beautifully. Let's do it. There you have it. It's almost like it blended directly in with the sample and also with our piano chords. It's almost like you can't even hear it, but it shines only in certain parts. And that's how you know that your tones are now blending well. Everything is starting to match the sample to where it all sounds like one entire sample. Let's disengage the EQ. I'm going to let you listen to it, and then we can listen to it again with the EQ. Check it out. This is without the EQ. Okay, now this is with the EQ. So what this is showing you guys is that if you pick the correct tones, it's going to be easy for you to shape your sound. Tones, sounds, two different things. You want to pick the correct tone of the VST instrument that matches your sample tone. And now you can shape your sound to what you need it to be inside of your beat. And this is the reason why certain VSTs don't fit over certain samples. It's simply because the correct tones aren't being matched. And now you're trying to shape a sound around that tone that is not matching. So you have to be able to train your ear to pick up the tone of what your sample is doing, the vibe and the tone of it. That way you can go pick instruments that are now matching those same tones. And now once you match the same tone, now you can shape the sound into something that matches and fits the beat well, just like you see here. We're going to go ahead on and lay down the drums, and then I'm going to show you a few things that I do with my drums to get them to match the tone of what the beat is doing. Okay, so let's lay down the crash and open hi-hat. Let's do it. Now what I'm going to do is lay down our hi-hat. We're going to put that in 16 level. We're going to make sure it's on velocity. That way the hi-hat is now spread up the pads in velocity. Let's go in and out and create our hi-hat pattern. I want to shift this hi-hat a bit to make it fit the tone. Right now it's a good hi-hat. It follows the tone. Okay, I want to make it fit a bit more of what the beat is doing. So instead of EQing and all of that, all we have to do is just change the semitones of the hi-hat. So check this out. We're going to pick our hi-hat here, and then we're going to raise up the semitones. Let's see. Just +1 gives us the vibe of what we need. If you notice, -1 was a bit lower. Rewind the video, listen to it before we did this, then listen to it now, and you'll be able to see that just that +1 gave us a bit more of an energetic vibe that what the sample is doing. So sometimes it's just the little smallest things. All of those little small things start to add up into one big thing that make an impact in your beat. So let's keep going. Let's get this crash next. Let's see if we can tune that up maybe +3 and see how that sounds. I think that fits. This is without. The crash is a bit too heavy. Check it out. Now when you pull it back to +3, check it out. We now have that energetic vibe of what the sample is doing. So you can get a certain tone just from the way that you shift your drums. So just look for that whenever you're tuning your drums, that tone that you want that fits the vibe of your sample. And then once you get the tone that you want, you can always shape your drums in your mix with the sound that you want. All right, so let's see if we can grab one more instrument and match the tone of our beat. That way we can kind of take care of the high mid end of the track. We're still on the melody vibe. We still want to match that same tone. So I'm going to choose my brass. Now, the reason why I'm choosing this particular instrument is simply because the sample has a string inside of it. So I want to match the tone of that string. So let's go back to the sample. Let's go back to it, and I'm gonna let you listen to the string sound. Let's see if you can pick it up. You can hear the vocal, and you can also hear that string sound that's going in and out of the sample. So that's what we're trying to match. So we're gonna grab our own string sound, and we're gonna get this tone to fit. So let's do that. Let's go back to our string sound, okay? And we're gonna lay this down over the beat. Okay, now let's go on and engage our EQ. And let's see if we can fit this tone to the sound that we want now. Let's do it. Instantly, you can hear what's going on here simply because we were able to pick the correct tone. Now we were able to shape this sound to exactly what we want the beat to do. Now I'm going to show you how you know we have the correct tones. Now check this out. I'm going to disengage all of the instruments, okay? And then I'm going to engage these instruments one by one, saving the sample last. You're going to be able to hear every instrument as it comes in, and you're going to start to hear exactly the tones. Now, the sample is going to come in last, and then you're going to be able to hear all of the melodies together. And you're going to see that every single VST followed the same exact thing of what the sample was doing. So check this out. Let's start with the string first. You can instantly hear as the instruments come in, they all blend together well. And the way we did this is because we matched the correct tones first before we shaped our sounds. You get the correct tones in your VSTs first. Make sure that you're fitting the vibe of what your sample is doing. Make sure you're fitting the tonal quality of what your sample is doing when you choose your instruments. And then you'll be able to shape the sound and get everything to fit. That concludes the video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys got a good idea of what it takes to layer instruments on top of vinyl sounds. It's really crucial to understand the difference between tone textures and actual sound. That way you can choose the correct things to put on top of the vinyl sample that match the tone, and then you can shape the sound into what you need. Sometimes we tend to pick the wrong tones, and then now we're trying to shape the sounds and deal with the sounds, and then it doesn't exactly fall on top of the vinyl sample as well. So use these tips and tricks that you saw in this video to tune your drums, to tune your instruments, to fine tune your sound, to make sure that you guys are getting a good sound where you layer instruments on top of your vinyl samples. If you guys are having trouble with your beats and encountering things just like this, please take advantage of the beat critiques that we have going on. You will see them on my website. I will leave the link in the video description as well. That way you guys can send me your beats. It's a nice service that we have going on, and it really actually benefits you to get feedback on your beats. That way you can understand things just like this. So head on down to my website, thedrenkking.com. Check out the send me your beats section, and you'll see those options available to you. If you guys want to connect with me in any kind of way, just to say what's up, or if you have any questions or anything, Instagram is probably the best place to do that. Make sure you guys drop me a follow at @thedrenkking on IG. Shoot me a DM, and I will get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. This is the kid DZD, aka the Drink King, live from the Dungeon Palace Studios. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.